And then it would go kind of like, and I feel myself weightless, and then open my eyes and I'm out of my body.
When the Anunnaki genetically engineered or modified humans, their Easter egg was that essentially God is within you.
The pharaohs at the time, being extraterrestrial beings, came down with a technology, electromagnetic pulsation and electromagnetic laser pulsation. Now, we see these things as very physical technology, and it is, but they used it connected to the spirit world, connected to consciousness, connected to awareness. They were able to do things like, make massive boulders levitate.
When you astral project or have an out-of-body experience, that's your indigo ray body.
We are in a remembrance of these innate technology.
And a big thing that's brought up in the Pyramid Code document is all about how these staffs work. And it spoke about two specifically for healing purposes and helped with levitation. Welcome back to Hidden Revelations. I'm your host, Jason Shurka, and sitting alongside me is Brandon Bozarth and Aaron Abke. Today's episode is all about spiritual technology, really reframing our understanding and our idea of technology in the first place. Because in today's day, we're really used to the fact of calling technology an iPhone, a computer, anything with a battery, some form of man-made artificial technology that we've so-called created and harnessed, and really things with wires and screens. And the question we're going to ask ourselves and in part answer in this episode is that the only form of technology that exists? Is there a deeper, more foundational form of technology that maybe can harness a vacuum of energy, an eternal and infinite energy that's not necessarily artificially made or man-made? Based on our research, based on the texts in front of us, the Law of One, the Bashar Material, and the Pyramid Code, and many other texts that we may bring in throughout this episode as well, the answer is there is a deeper form of technology. Technology is much wider than just the technology that we call today cutting edge high technology. It's a lot bigger, it's a lot more powerful. And in this episode, we're going to bring in forms of technology connecting to the power of thought, connecting to language, its letters, the numerology behind that language. And one of the biggest topics that I like when it comes to the Pyramid Code and just texts of this nature is codes. What do codes really mean? How are they built? And what are their implications? So when it comes to technology as we know it today, and maybe technology in the past and how that changed. I know these texts and many other texts definitely speak about that. But maybe before really diving into this topic with certain excerpts from the Pyramid Code, going along stories from all of these texts and how they connect with their synchronicities, big picture, what are your thoughts of technology in regards to Bashar and just your experience, Brandon? And then we'll take it to Aaron.
Yeah. So I think there's an overwhelming, especially in these circles, understanding that the foundation of technology is vibration. It's vibrational technology. And that not only does everything contain a vibration, but we can, as a body, or as I would say, a mind-body complex.
Mind-body-spirit complex.
Yeah, we can generate vibration and learn to shift our vibration in very specific ways that has effects on our reality. Like we're going to talk about language, or these ancient languages of light, Bashar considers a technology. He's shared with us free energy devices based in fractal geometry that can step down energy from one density to another density. And it's a very holistic understanding of what technology is, because it's the foundation of it is an understanding of consciousness. And from that foundation, whatever technology you use, I'll even be talking a little bit about the 13 crystal skulls, is balanced in its nature because of the understanding of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion on different forms of technology in the Law of One. Obviously, they go into really great detail about the pyramids and how they were built, what they were used for, and especially crystals. Crystals is a big discussion in the Law of One, how to use them for healing and other purposes. And there's many interesting passages, a few that come to mind when they're asking if Ra can teach them how to use crystals for healing. And Ra stresses that the crystallized being is just as important as the crystal itself. And they describe a crystal as frozen light. And so in one passage, they're asking Ra how we can learn to use different types of crystals for different things, because different forms of crystals can channel energy differently. And Ra says this is an entire science in and of itself, basically, that would take a very long time for you to learn. And it's actually can be potentially be dangerous, because if you don't know how to use energy properly or channel it properly, you can do damage. And so they ask Ra at one point, can we use this crystal to perform types of healing or surgery? And Ra says yes, but this would sort of be like us giving a hammer and nails to someone and asking them to build the Vatican. It's like, yeah, you can do it, but it's going to take a lot of learning to get to that point. So really we will know how to use this kind of technology first when we understand the technology that exists within us, our energy centers, the mind, body, spirit complex, and all of that translates to how we use it externally.
So there's a famous quote by Tesla, actually, that says the following: "The day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in 1 decade than in all the previous centuries of existence."
Absolutely.
The reason I find that so relevant is because if we go back in history, especially according to these texts and many other texts, the beings in the past, when it comes to ancient Egypt and the building of the pyramids, understood that physical technology is based on the spirit world and its laws and how it works. And their understanding of that very nature of how things work allowed them to do things that, again, we call supernatural. So, for example, there was something called in the pyramid code, according to the story that's told, and how they built the pyramids, the pharaohs at the time being extraterrestrial beings, came down with a technology at this point, 3,000, almost 4,000 years ago, called EMP and EMLP, electromagnetic pulsation and electromagnetic laser pulsation. Now, we see these things as very physical technology, and it is. But they used it connected to the spirit world, connected to consciousness, connected to awareness. And therefore, they were able to do things like, make massive boulders that we can't pick up with cranes today, levitate without a problem, through vibration, through frequency, through sound. And I think, just in my opinion, the biggest thing that will allow us to really connect what spiritual technology really is when we see the connection between the spirit world and the physical world. So I'd like to bring up a portion from the Pyramid Code that really talks about the connection between the two that I feel may just spark the foundation of this conversation. And it says the following: Earth operates according to natural laws that are set by the Creator. Earth is always moving, evolving, and changing. Change and evolution in the spiritual world is propagated by different waves, frequencies, and vibrations that are consistent to each form in nature. This energy remains in these abstract forms until it penetrates matter, which results in the changing of matter or the creation of new matter. This process can be achieved through spiritual words, aka technology, or spiritual powers via waves, frequencies, and vibrations. In other words, flesh is created differently from an animal to a human being. A brain is created differently than a human heart. Everything has its own frequency, its own physicality, and its own spirit within it. that affects its waves and vibrations. As spirit transforms itself into physical matter, the material that culminates, such as the death of a body, reverses its direction, returns back to spirit. It then further transforms to become source or energy/power again. This process continues for many years, and it is a very slow process that spans millions of years. The reason why I bring that up is to really tie it back to this unified field of consciousness. That's what all of it is connected to, whether it's physical technology, like your electromagnetic pulsation or electromagnetic laser pulsation. It's the awareness and the consciousness to be able to tap into this unified field that allows us to do things that make no sense in just the physical world. Taking it back to what Tesla said, when we start going to the spiritual phenomena of everything, we're able to do so much more with the physical, because it's not just physical that really controls everything. It's the spirit world that makes the physical possible.
Yeah.
So with that being said, why don't we start with the Bashar Material? Maybe start with how the spirit and the physical connect, and we'll move into the whole technological aspect of that and what that means.
So when you were saying they all have different vibrations and frequencies, Bashar's race is at a place in their evolution where they can interact with you and see your entire being as code. They call it a language. So when Bashar's channeling through Daryl and he's focusing on you, he doesn't see your body. He doesn't see any solidity. He sees light, and he sees a language of light that is informing him on what that individual needs from him. And it is informed by the higher mind of that individual. So with that in mind, they're able to, in a sense, understand and perceive, let's say, a stone, and know the equation of the stone. What is it? Where is it in time and space? And they can be in a different part of the multiverse. But if they understand that one location, they can travel to that location. They can, perform feats that we would consider supernatural. So just on that point of vibration and frequency, the understanding of that is what is the foundation of all of their time travel, which they don't consider time travel. Of course, it's just shifting to parallel realities. And it's the foundation of a physics that we don't quite understand, because we don't have the tools, the equipment sensitive enough to measure all of the variables of an object.
Yeah, Ross says that a lot in the Law of One, that your peoples don't have the instruments yet to measure these forms of energy. And you had mentioned the Tesla quote, and we all know the famous Tesla quote: if you want to understand the mysteries of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And this is a conversation that the three of us have been having a lot lately off camera. This idea that, in this pandemic world, we're so desperately clinging to this old model, this germ theory model, which is where all of our current medical science is based out of. It's sort of like matter versus energy, third density, fourth density. Third density is the density of separation, perceiving separate objects and things. That's like matter consciousness. Fourth density is the density of unity and oneness, which is this awareness that everything is that field of consciousness. Everything is just energy. And if we understand the nature of energy, then it's very easy to begin manipulating it in different ways and creating what we call free energy technology. But the old paradigm, those in power in the world now obviously know these things and heavily suppress any studies, any science, any technology that comes out that verifies what we would call like terrain theory versus germ theory. This idea that it's really bioresonance that triggers disease and sickness in people to activate and begin detoxifying. And we have this model now, which we know has always been disproven, germ theory. In every study ever done, it's not only not been able to prove it, every study done has wound up disproving germ theory. The idea that a pathogenic disease-causing agent jumps from my body into your body and just wreaks havoc. And, I'm a sick person, you're a healthy person, and I get you sick. That's a very disempowering belief. Bioresonance says, if you are in a state of toxicity similar to mine, and my body is in a state of detoxifying, our bioresonance will communicate and say, hey, I'm doing this detoxifying process that's really good for me. We're the same species. If you have this toxicity, you should do it too. And if you do, your body begins detoxifying. This is how energy communicates, right? And so our world right now is sort of like desperately clinging on to this old outdated model because that's where all the money is.
Right.
There's no money in the empowerment
Right.
of your health, your energy, your freedom belongs solely to you and nobody else. And so I think we will only see this shift happen, like Tesla talks about, where people begin to wake up to this fact, getting out of the fear victim consciousness of everything is out to get me and hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, I control my energy, I control my environment, my body, my terrain, my freedom. And then we will truly be able to step into this new paradigm, this new world where we can actually study things like bioresonance that get crushed by big pharma right now because there's no money in empowering people to take charge of their health, right?
Yeah.
All the money is in that victim consciousness from the third density model.
Absolutely. And again, back to our past episodes, it really shows a reflection of where we're at in our level of consciousness.
Yeah.
And just a straight up mirror
Yep.
of who we are right now. So in a way, all of this that's happening right now is a massive blessing because it's
huge.
One of the only times that we're really able to see ourselves clearly and come out of this coma that we've been in of consciousness.
Yeah.